Good afternoon. There's been a lot of activity around the CN Tower overnight and early this morning.
However, there have been few details about what's happening at the landmark. CP24's Courtney Hills has been following all the goings-on and joins us live now with more. Courtney.
Good afternoon, Michelle. Yes, there has been a lot of buzz surrounding the activity at the foot of the CN Tower. Behind me, you can see there's some scaffolding here. We're told by residents it went up a few days ago, and projectors. And overnight, many were talking about the images on the CN Tower. We'll share with you now some pictures sent to our newsroom. Many people capturing these pictures and sharing them on social media. And it shows the CN Tower in green and blue. And many thought it appeared as though it was like a thermometer. And that has led Drake fans to wonder if this might be connected to Drake's new album, Iceman. We know there is a lot of anticipation over Drake's new album. It's going to be released tomorrow. We know he's been seen in the city shooting what appear to be music videos. There's rumors he was actually filming in the CN Tower. And of course, there's that ice structure we were talking about just a few weeks ago. So many are wondering, could this all be connected? They just want some answers at this point. Here's more.
I live in the area, so every chat that I have or group that I'm in was all talking about it. So definitely people were noticing it last night, yeah. And then I think with the Jays game being so full when it got let out in overtime or extra innings, I should say, I think it was noticeable then too.
With every album that he's released and stuff like that, he's always let teasers out and stuff like that. So I reckon those lights connect to the colors of him being linking it to Iceman and stuff like that, so definitely could be Drake hinting at something.
I wondered if there's some sort of concert going on because I saw all these, it looks like speakers. I don't know. I had no idea, and all the lights that were shining up there was pretty cool.
So people are curious, and we, of course, have reached out to the city, to the CN Tower, even to the police, because at one point they had Bremner shut down. Everyone's staying pretty tight-lipped, but we noticed this earlier this morning. You can see this truck. It said the Iceman. It arrived. It moved very quickly into just behind Ripley's aquarium there. So, again, curious, could this all be connected? At this point, we do not know, but we do know Drake taking to social media earlier today, putting something out about an announcement at 9:45. We don't know what it is, but I'm sure we'll have some answers soon. Over to you.
Look forward to that. Courtney, thank you. Live outside the CN Tower. And before that tower became Toronto's most iconic landmark, it was a bold vision that changed the city's skyline forever.
This year marks its 50th anniversary, so we're taking a quick look back at its history, and a reminder, CP24 Live at 5 will be broadcasting from the tower tonight.
You may have looked up at the CN Tower your whole life, but have you ever wondered why it was built? In the late 60s, Toronto had a growing problem with television and broadcast signals being blocked by new skyscrapers, so they needed an antenna taller than all the rest. Construction began on the CN Tower in 1973, and for the first part, for 24 hours a day from Monday to Friday, concrete poured, allowing the tower to rise continuously. And on April 2nd, 1975, the CN Tower reached its full height. It became the world's tallest freestanding structure, and it maintained that record for more than 30 years. If you look closely at the side of the tower, you can see faint horizontal lines up the leg. We call those the Friday lines. As concrete pouring stopped over the weekends, the concrete started to cure. When concrete pouring resumed the next Monday, it continued on, creating these graded lines, kind of like the rings of a tree.
A time capsule from 1976 is sealed on the main observation level of the tower by Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, to be opened in 2076. It includes newspapers, messages, and everyday items from the time. A snapshot of Toronto at the moment the tower was completed.
50 years ago, the CN Tower opened to the excitement and awe of Torontonians and Canadians alike. This marvel of engineering continues to serve as a symbol of Canadian innovation and achievement. We hope it will continue to inspire for the next 50 years.
Still to come, Honda has confirmed it's indefinitely suspending plans for a $15 billion electric vehicle plant in Ontario. We'll have more on the decision and the fallout a little later in the newscast. A Scarborough woman charged with first-degree murder in connection with the death of her young daughter is making her first court appearance today. The nearly 2-year-old girl was found without vital signs when emergency services responded to a home in the Midland and Steeles area Tuesday morning. She was rushed to hospital where she later died. The girl has been identified as Oriana Cho. Her death has been deemed a homicide. Her mother, 37-year-old Si Ting Yang, was arrested at the scene.
York Regional Police are searching for multiple suspects following a fatal double shooting in Vaughan. Officers called to a home on Kaiser Drive near Martin Grove and Langstaff around 5:30 p.m. yesterday. They found 2 men suffering from gunshot wounds who later died at the scene. 3 men were spotted leaving the scene in a blue SUV following the shooting. Police later got a call for a vehicle fire roughly 12 kilometers away in the area of Huntington and Kirby Roads. Investigators say the torched vehicle matched the description of the suspect, and they're working to determine if these incidents are related. Police provided an update at the scene last night.
So we can confirm that one of the victims did reside in the residence in front of where the shooting occurred, while the second victim did live in the area. And so they are known to each other, but in the sense that they both resided in the same area. It's absolutely shocking to the community here and to anyone who may have heard or seen anything. It's not often that double homicides occur, especially in broad daylight. And while it is concerning for us, we do have our homicide investigators looking very much into it to find out who's responsible and exactly why that happened today.
Investigators are asking anyone with information to contact the York Regional Police Homicide Unit. CUPE Local 2, the union representing TTC maintenance workers, provided an update this morning on contract negotiations with the transit agency.
The TTC will be in a legal lockout position on Sunday with concerns about the impact potential job action could have on the FIFA World Cup next month. CTV's Beth Macdonell is now live from Davisville Station with more. Beth?
Sean, time is ticking on a deal between the TTC and the union representing 700 trades workers. The TTC could lock them out come Saturday. Earlier today, a vocal group of electricians, signal maintainers, technicians, and others gathered outside TTC headquarters. Their union, CUPE Local 2, says if they aren't on the job, the system will be less safe and reliable. The TTC says there are contingency plans involving non-unionized staff to keep the system running safely and smoothly. The union says some of the sticking points are competitive wages and schedules, while the TTC says its main point revolves around wages. Toronto's World Cup games are now less than 1 month away.
We want the city to know that we as CUPE Local 2 members are excited about the World Cup. We're ready to play our role in supporting the event. And we don't want any disruptions. That's not the goal of this union. But if the TTC believes that by these lockouts they can break the unity and resolve of these members, that would be a mistake.
There's a lot of work that we have to get done before the World Cup and as well as during the World Cup to make sure that we've got all of those services that we plan to deliver ready and then available during the World Cup. We reached out and started this process going back 5 months. We had very little feedback from the union until March. So there were 2 months where we just didn't hear anything back from them. That really frustrated us because we needed these talks to get going so that we could preserve that World Cup service.
The union says it was the TTC that held up talks over the winter, that it wants to bargain and workers want to work. The TTC says it's very much still at the negotiating table and its goal is to reach a Friday by midnight deadline. Beth, reporting live on Beth Macdonell. Sean, back to you.
Thanks, Beth. The Finch West LRT will be closed this long weekend. Metrolinx plans to shut down Line 6 for 4 days. Work is set to begin tomorrow, with plans to have the LRT back in service on Tuesday. Metrolinx says workers will be carrying out system and performance upgrades ahead of the FIFA World Cup next month. Shuttle buses will operate along Finch Avenue East during the closure.
The Victoria Day long weekend is approaching, and for the first time, retailers across our province will have the option to stay open on the stat holiday. New changes to Ontario's Retail Business and Holiday Act mean stores and malls in the province can open on Victoria Day as well as Family Day. However, all government offices will still be closed Monday, along with banks, libraries, and community centers. Meanwhile, the city will be putting on its Victoria Day fireworks display at Ashbridges Bay on Monday night. The show begins at 10 p.m. The city is also allowing residents to set off fireworks on their own property before 11 p.m. on Victoria Day.
A new poll suggests Mayor Oriana Cho has a big lead in the mayoral election race, despite the fact that she has not indicated if she plans to run again. The poll conducted by Liaison Strategies found Cho has 50% support among decided voters and a 13-point lead over Councillor Brad Bradford. Overall, 24% of people surveyed indicated they are still undecided. In terms of issues, people expressed frustration with congestion and road construction, with 71% saying congestion has gotten worse over the past year.
Important to remember, she's the incumbent, and so she's bringing a lot of name recognition into the race. She's got, about 2 years now that she's been mayor, more or less. And what we're seeing is that strong generational support and divide for her. But at the same time, what we are seeing as well for her leading candidate, Brad Bradford, a third of the city doesn't know who he is. Right? So 33% of Torontonians telling us they either don't know who he is or they don't have a firm opinion. And that's the big limiting factor in the race right now for Mr. Bradford. It's hard to vote for someone you don't know, though some people are.
A spokesperson for Bradford's campaign released a statement which reads, "What our campaign sees in this poll is momentum. Brad intends to use every day of this campaign to make the case for a city Torontonians can be proud of." Mayor Cho's lead is built on an advantage no other candidate has. She's not registered as a candidate. She hasn't even decided if she's running. She's not subject to the same campaign rules Brad follows, and she's campaigning through the mayor's office on the taxpayer's dime, while Progress Toronto runs a shadow campaign on her behalf. Brad continues to remain focused on combating cost, crime, and congestion. The survey also asked people about their view of the Toronto Police Service, with 63% saying they have at least some trust in the city's police.
Meanwhile, Mayor Cho was at the waterfront this morning to officially reveal the new names of Toronto's 2 new electric island ferries. The mayor was joined by other officials, ferry crews and community groups, revealing models of the 2 new vessels, Toronto Islander and the Lady of the Keys. The names are meant to reflect the city's harbour presence and celebrate the connection between Toronto's residents, visitors, and the island. They were selected by the public from a short list of 13 possible choices.
Naming vessels is a long-standing Toronto and boating tradition, and I'm proud that we opened up this process to residents across the city to have their say in this decision and also to catch the excitement of these new boats.
These new electric ferries will replace some of the oldest ferries that we have in our operations. Angara, which has been serving the City of Toronto for over 60 years, and the William Inglis, which has been in service for over 90 years. These new ferries will carry more than 3 times the passengers of the vessels they're currently replacing, helping meet the growing demands in our operations.
The 2 electric ferries are currently under construction, with Queen of the Keys expected to arrive later this year. The Toronto Islander is due in 2027.
We'll have more news in a moment, but first, here's a live look at the city this afternoon. It continues to be cloudy this Thursday as we look towards the long weekend, but Lindsay, it appears as though it's going to be cloudy for some time here.
Well, it's going to be cloudy for today, Sean, but I will say this is the last before a real big pattern change that's coming with perfect timing just in time for that long weekend. So let's get to it. Yeah, it's pretty cloudy around the GTA right now, and we do have the chance once again of some very scattered wet weather. Anyone who sees showers today, likely not going to see a whole lot of rain associated with it. We've got sunshine though across southwestern Ontario, and you'll notice that it's a little warmer in some of those spots as a result. 16 degrees right now in Windsor, 12 in London. We are still at 8 degrees here in Toronto, and part of the reason it feels cool out there today is because these breezy winds are coming out of the northwest. So here's your day at a glance. Chance of showers for this afternoon. It's not a strong chance, but the possibility is there. And 13 degrees is what we're forecasting for a daytime high. You'll notice that that is still well below seasonal. 19 is our average temperature this time of year, but things are about to change. And coming up, we're going to talk about next week and the possibility of temperatures near 30. All of those details are ahead in your weather forecast. For now, though, Sean, back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. And returning to one of our top stories, a Scarborough woman charged with first-degree murder in the death of her young daughter is making her first court appearance today.
The girl, who was nearly 2 years old, died in hospital yesterday after being found without vital signs at a home in the area of Midland and Steeles on Tuesday morning. CTV's Janice Golding has been following this case. She joins us live now from outside the courthouse with more. Janice.
Hi, Michelle. Yes, well, we are live right now outside the Finch Avenue West Courthouse, where Si Ting Yang has just made a brief appearance in relation to the death of her daughter. Now, as you mentioned, Yang appeared via video from the Vanier Center for Women, where she is facing a first-degree murder charge. The 37-year-old, who's accused of killing her young daughter, was wearing a green sweatshirt, glasses, and her face was unemotive as her lawyer asked for an adjournment while he awaits disclosure. Yang then waved goodbye to the court as she walked out of the virtual prisoner's box. Police were originally called to a home on Port Royal Trail near Midland and Steeles just after 9:30 a.m. Tuesday. The call was made by the child's father, who would not arrive home until emergency services were already on scene. Paramedics say they were called to the Scarborough home for a report of respiratory or cardiac arrest. However, what they would find when they got there was far, far worse. 22-month-old Oriana Cho was without vital signs. Now, EMS did manage to revive the little girl, but she would later die in hospital. Her mother, meanwhile, was taken into custody. Now, Yang will be returning to court via video on May 26th to continue with this case. She is considered, police are calling this Toronto's 8th homicide of the year. Reporting live, Janice Golding. Now back to Michelle and Sean.
Thank you, Janice. Honda has confirmed it's indefinitely suspending plans for a $15 billion electric vehicle project in Ontario. The automaker says the move is part of a larger overhaul of the company's business model, and Honda CEO says they'll focus on rebuilding its auto business structure over the next 3 years, shifting its focus to hybrid models, which are currently in high demand. The announcement comes as Honda posted a $2.7 billion loss, its first ever full-year loss. Honda Canada says the suspension of the EV project will not affect current employment or production levels at the existing plant in Alliston, Ontario. CTV's Kamal Karamali has been following this story and joins us now live with more. Kamal, how are you doing?
Hey, good to see you, Sean. Yeah, as you mentioned, this is coming as Honda is posting its first ever full year loss at $2.7 billion, a huge number and a big reason as to why Honda is saying it is suspending this Ontario EV plant. So although Canadian sales are robust and are increasing, the overall weak North American demand, primarily in the United States, is creating a lot of uncertainty, especially around the U.S. EV policies. So Honda saying that it's due to these changing business conditions, and the losses have a lot to do with government policies, especially the Trump administration scaling back on EV incentive programs, as to why it says it is indefinitely suspending its plans for a $15 billion electric vehicle complex in Alliston, Ontario. That's just about an hour's drive north of Toronto. You'll remember this project was first announced in April of 2024. It then announced last May that it was going to pause developments as Honda reviews the EV market in Canada and North America. And now, a year later, Sean, they're saying that it is not, the sales are not enough, and the EV incentives resulting in slower growth, not enough to go ahead with this Ontario plant. Have a listen to what Carney had to say earlier today.
It's a decision about additional jobs, not current jobs, as you know, in Alston, but it's a disappointing decision. It's a decision that reflects the broader strategic position and financial position of that company. It's part of a global series of decisions that they've taken.
And so we've also heard from Unifor, the union representing the manufacturing workers, and they say that, look, this is another result of Trump's anti-EV policies, calling the 25% tariffs on Canadian-made vehicles punishing, saying, Sean, that these tariffs are, quote, killing jobs and freezing investment.
Now, Kamal, you touched on the ripple effects within the industry. Now, Stats Canada also released its EV sales for March. What can you tell us about how the numbers are? You mentioned they were robust in Canada, so what are we seeing?
Yeah, and we know that the United States has such a big piece of the EV sales pie, and so even though Canada is increasing significantly in its EV sales, Sean, it is really the United States and the anti-EV incentives, or the scaling back of EV incentives in the United States, that's playing a role as to why Honda is a little shy in going ahead with this project. So you're looking at what StatsCan released this morning for March sales, and you'll see a lot of red on your screen here. Even though there was 176,000 total new vehicles sold, that's down 6%, new passenger vehicles down 4%, and new trucks, and these are primarily gas vehicles, down 7%. But whoa boy, look at this next slide here. 21,000 new zero-emission vehicles sold in the month of March, and that is, and you're not reading this wrong, nearly a 75% increase year over year compared to March of 2025. So in 1 year, ZEV sales rose 75%, and now this was the first full month that Ottawa introduced its incentives, a rebate program for about $5,000, as much as $5,000 reimbursed to Canadians who buy electric vehicles. So this clearly playing a role in why more Canadians were buying electric vehicles. But clearly, Sean, all of this not enough because we're seeing slower growth and slower sales in the United States, and that's made Honda say, "Nuh-uh, we don't want to go ahead with this new expansion of a EV factory in Ontario."
More difficult news for the Canadian auto industry. Thank you very much, Kamal Karamali, joining us today.
Anytime.
Prime Minister Mark Carney has announced his government's plan to double Canada's electrical capacity by the year 2050.
Doubling generation in the next few decades will require those massive investments. It will require the linking of provincial systems. It will require the spreading of costs over time.
As part of its national electricity strategy, the government is launching consultations with provinces and territories, Indigenous peoples, utilities and unions to identify what actions are needed to double Canada's grid. The government estimates construction will cost more than $1 trillion and employ 130,000 workers. CTV Jeremie Charron joins us live now from Ottawa with more on this. And Jeremy, tell us more about this announcement.
Yeah, Michelle, a clean energy strategy here with $1 trillion price tag, as you've just touched on. We're looking at a significant, undertaking here to double Canada's grid capacity by 2050. As you've touched on, job creation will be significant as well. By 2028, the federal government says it'll create 30,000 jobs and then another 100,000 additional jobs by 2050, rather. The idea here is to double the capacity of the grid. That is going to take significant new infrastructure. We're talking about hydroelectric infrastructure, nuclear infrastructure, wind, solar, all kinds of clean energy sources the federal government will be investing in moving forward. We're talking about 4 pillars. This is what the federal government says. They're going to rely on 4 pillars to get this done. The first being building, of course, the infrastructure required to double capacity. The second, you heard the Prime Minister touch on it, connecting grids across provinces. Right now, most provinces have their own grids. They all operate separately. Through new infrastructure, they're going to connect all of the grids so that the system can work as a whole and be a lot more efficient. The third pillar is, of course, hiring the people to be able to build this infrastructure. And the fourth being to ensure that the technologies and the components that will be required for this grid will be made here in the country to maximize economic impact here in Canada. It's a huge, of course, environmental impact here. The Canadian Climate Institution has been calling on the federal government to double or even triple its grid capacity if it is going to meet its emissions targets. And so that is what we've seen today, an announcement of doubling the grid capacity by 2050. That means the federal government continues to try and meet its targets, the first being to make the grid completely net zero by 2035. Right now, 80% of the energy the grid is producing is coming from non-emission energy sources. and then the goal of 2050 to be completely net zero emissions in the country by 2050. So the government taking a significant step today in investing massive amounts of money, again, $1 trillion price tag, but this is something that is going to happen over the next several decades and allow for the doubling of electricity grid capacity in the country.
CTV's Jeremie Charron live for us in Ottawa. Thank you.
Anytime.
The Public Health Agency of Canada provided an update this morning on the hantavirus outbreak. There's new information about a flight taken by Canadians returning home.
We were also notified of an additional 26 travelers who were on the flights, but deemed by local European public health as being no risk. Again, in Canada, we are taking a precautionary approach, and we have deemed them to be minimal or low risk as opposed to no risk. The provinces and territories, therefore, are undertaking the work to contact these 26 individuals and provide them with information and monitor them throughout this time.
The agency says the outbreak has continued to evolve, but the overall risk remains low at this time. It says further spread of the virus in Canada is not expected. As a precaution, PSAC has adapted World Health Organization guidance to the Canadian context.
U.S. President Donald Trump met with his Chinese counterpart today, kicking off a two-day visit to the country.
Despite previous verbal attacks on China, Trump has shifted his tone and praised Chinese President Xi Jinping.
And to the health of President Trump and all the friends present, cheers.
China's president gave a toast in honor of Trump at a state banquet. The two leaders also took part in a 2-hour meeting, which included talks about Taiwan. Xi told Trump that if Taiwan is handled well, relations between the U.S. and China will enjoy overall stability, while warning that if things go poorly, it could lead to clashes and even conflicts. The U.S. has previously supplied Taiwan with advanced weapons.
The world today is changing and turbulent. China-U.S. relations concern the well-being of the over 1.7 billion people of both countries and affect the interests of the over 8 billion people of the world. Both sides should rise up to this historic responsibility and steer the giant ship of China-U.S. relations forward.
The American and Chinese people share much in common. We value hard work. We value courage and achievement. We love our families and we love our countries. Together we have the chance to draw on these values to create a future of greater prosperity, cooperation, and happiness, and peace for our children. We love our children. This region and the world, it's a special world with the two of us united and together.
Political analysts say Trump is hoping China will use its leverage to get Iran to agree to U.S. terms to end the ongoing war in the Middle East, something China has been reluctant to do. Trump has also invited Xi to visit the U.S. in September.
Meanwhile, the United States says Iran's military capability has been virtually wiped out. A senior U.S. admiral said today Tehran's missiles, navy, drones, and industrial base have been degraded by 90%, and the Iranian regime can no longer carry out large-scale attacks against its neighbors or American interests in the region. Admiral Brad Cooper insists Iran's navy will not return to its pre-war capability for a generation.
In Ukraine, 9 people were killed in a third straight day of massive drone and missile attacks by Russia. The fatalities occurred when an apartment building in Kyiv was struck. Dozens of people were injured, and at least 20 others are believed to be missing. The mayor of the capital has declared tomorrow a day of mourning for the victims. More than 24 civilians were injured in other attacks elsewhere in the country. Ukrainian officials noted that the strikes coincided with U.S. President Donald Trump's trip to China.
In the UK, the health secretary has become the first cabinet minister to resign amid calls for Prime Minister Keir Starmer to resign. Wes Streeting quit today, telling the PM it is clear he will not lead the Labour Party into the next general election. Streeting urged Starmer to set a timetable for his departure that allows for a broad field of candidates to replace him. Starmer is in a precarious position after Labour's heavy losses in recent elections. More than 80 lawmakers have urged him to set a timetable for his departure. Starmer says he has no intention of stepping down.
The crew of Artemis II visited the Canadian Space Agency headquarters this morning, and London, Ontario's Jeremy Hansen reflected on what he learned during the historic mission about Canada's contributions in space.
Nothing changed about what I thought Canada was capable of, but I sure did enjoy seeing it in real life and feeling it with my own eyes, and like being out there as a human in space representing our extraordinary country, the extraordinary work that we have talked about many times, Minister. Yep. Literally decades of Canadian innovation that put us in this situation. But I got to really feel it and live it. Mm-hmm. And now it makes me unapologetically proud and also kind of like, let's get after it and let's go do the next thing.
The astronauts traveled to the far side of the moon during last month's 10-day mission. They went further from Earth than any humans before them. Hansen says Artemis II is just a step on a much longer journey.
Well, as we make our way into the evening hours tonight, we hold on to the chance of showers, but then overnight tonight, we're going to see the cloud cover clear, and that's going to make way for a sunny day tomorrow, sunny and seasonal. Our forecast daytime high, 20 degrees. Average temperature this time of year is 19, and that's just the beginning of what's going to be a very mild, long weekend. And if you're headed to cottage country, I know many people are opening up the cottage for the first time. Here's a look at what you can expect in the Wasaga Beach, Kawarthas, and Muskoka regions. Stay with us. We've got a look at your weather forecast a little closer to home after this break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
The Toronto Scepters will have some new rivals soon as the Professional Women's Hockey League is expanding to Hamilton.
A news conference was held this morning to provide details about one of the league's newest teams. CTV's John Musselman joins us live now from Hamilton with more. And John, this is exciting news for the Hammer.
Yeah, sure is. Very exciting news for the city of Hamilton. There's a news conference here at TD Coliseum. The Professional Women's Hockey League will expand to the city of Hamilton starting next year. Now, we don't know the name of the team yet, but during the news conference, we were notified that the colors will be maroon and gold. Now, the mayor was here, Andrea Horvath, as well as the Minister of Sport, Neil Lumsden, as well as a lot of minor hockey players, girls who play in leagues all across this region. And one of the reasons they picked Hamilton, we're being told, is because of the Professional Women's Hockey League. 15% of the players come from Southern Ontario and the Golden Horseshoe. So they think they have the data research and the demographics to support a team here. Here's what they had to say during the news conference today and what some of the players who play in the area had to say as well.
From the beginning, having engaged civic leadership, having great facility partners. So when we think about the city of Hamilton, Mayor Horvath, the Oakview Group, that's a starting point. And then as we look to add new teams, there's a number of things we need to see, infrastructure, grassroots involvement, economic opportunities, partnership opportunities, fan bases, how engaged they are. So there's a number of things we look for, and Hamilton checked a lot of those boxes.
Hamilton's a city of sport, but particularly hockey. Hockey is in our blood, it's in our souls, and now to see these, particularly today, these young women who came to celebrate this expansion of the PWHL here in Hamilton, it's a fantastic day for our city.
I've always dreamed of playing professionally, and when I was a kid there was really no opportunity, and I think that now it's starting. I think it's more realistic for young women in sports to really cherish this and continue their dream.
Again, a name of the team will come at a later date, but it obviously sets up a rivalry with the Toronto team here, which has many people here excited about what's going on. The league also expanded today to another city in Las Vegas, Nevada. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman in Hamilton.
Thank you, John.
It's just amazing that league has been able to grow from 6 teams in its first year all the way up to be 11 teams next year in the PWHL.
And it definitely makes it more fun for the playoffs. And I think it's going to be a great rivalry. Just think of the Ticats and the Argos. And now, it's going to be fun. Good times. Weather-wise, we're waiting for better times, and they're coming.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's, hockey weather, at least not outdoor hockey weather for the next couple of days here. In fact, the opposite. It's going to be suddenly feeling like summer as we make our way into the unofficial start of the summer season. That's the Victoria Day long weekend. We've got some warmth to talk about and some sunshine too. Weather is brought to you by the Pressler Law Firm Injury Lawyers. You don't pay unless they win. Want to kick things off with a live look at our city right now. It is still mostly cloudy. This is one more cloudy day, one more cool and possibly unsettled day as well. But change is coming. In fact, we already see the sun shining in parts of our province. You just have to travel west mostly and southwest. Getting some sun now in London, Owen Sound, Goderich, down toward Windsor and Sarnia. The sun is out. This low pressure system continues to very slowly slide eastward, and with it, it's bringing the wet weather into Quebec and Atlantic Canada, bringing the cloud cover away from us here in southern Ontario. Behind it, high pressure. We're going to start off with beautiful sunshine tomorrow to kick off your Friday. Then it's possible we're going to get a little bit of an increase in cloud cover for the afternoon. So there's 8 a.m. Going to pause this again around 6 just to show you a bit more in the way of cloud, but dry and seasonal temperature-wise. Into Saturday, there is a slight chance of a quick passing shower, but otherwise you can expect it to be a dry day with lots of sunshine, and the warmth really starts to kick in this day with highs in the low 20s. Gets even warmer than that, so stay tuned to see what's in store for next week. The warmth right now already being felt in Winnipeg. It is 21 degrees this hour in the morning in Winnipeg. We're seeing some of that warmth also in parts of northwestern Ontario, southwest Ontario too. For us though, remaining cool in the shadow of those clouds. We're at 8 degrees right now. We're forecasting a daytime high of 13 this afternoon. 19 is the average high this time of year. Not going to get there today. At least that's not what we're expecting. But we should be fairly seasonal through the overnight with a low of 8 degrees. 9 is the average. And then here's a little journey across our province for your Friday forecast. Again, mix of sun and cloud or mainly sunny skies. Seasonal highs near 19, 20 degrees in many areas. Let's talk about this long weekend forecast with a full look at the 7-day. 23 degrees for both Saturday and Sunday. Victoria Day looks lovely, pleasant. 25 for the high. Shouldn't be any concerns when it comes to fireworks. Those are happening at Wonderland on Sunday and, of course, Ashbridges Bay on Monday. Look at the heat for Tuesday. It's possible that we could approach 30 degrees here in the city of Toronto, but we do see some showers returning for both Tuesday and for Wednesday. That's the weather for now. Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, the Blue Jays were facing a sweep at the hands of Tampa Bay last night, and it wasn't looking good when they were trailing 3-1 in the 10th inning when this happened.
Another 2-2 pitch, and it's hit to deep left field. It's carrying. It's gone.
Dalton Varsho hit a grand slam in the bottom of the 10th inning to lift the Jays to a 5-3 win over the Rays. The victory snapping a 3-game losing streak and also marking the first time the Jays had beaten the Rays in 6 games this season. The team is off today. They can savor this, and they'll begin a series with the Tigers in Detroit tomorrow.
The Toronto Tempo made history last night. Marina Mabry scored 26 points as the Tempo beat the Seattle Storm 86-73. It marked the franchise's first ever win as they squared off with the Storm in their second game of the season. The team now heads to the West Coast to take on the Los Angeles Sparks tomorrow evening.
Still to come, marking World Vaccine Day. We'll have more on a new poll tapping into vaccine hesitancy when we come back.
Planning a memorable date night? Well, we're spotlighting some of Toronto's best hidden gem restaurants. If you see the Kingsbrae, you've come to the right place. Before it was the Rosebud, this cozy corner belonged to the Kingsbrae, a beloved neighborhood diner. And they've kept the original sign to pay homage to his history. Let's head inside to see what's on the menu. A stacked wine list and French-inspired dishes. And don't forget to ask about the prefixed menu. It's guaranteed to set the mood for love. It's the perfect spot for a special night out.
Welcome to the Rosebud.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit about the Rosebud. What makes this the perfect date night spot?
Yeah, so here at the Rosebud, we're trying to bridge the gap between casual dining and fine dining. So that means you can have a date night, a business dinner, a solo dinner. It's kind of for everybody. So great spot for date night.
But no matter what kind of occasion it is, the food is going to be impeccable, and I cannot wait to taste. What do you have for us, Chef?
Okay, so this is the first course. So this is our roasted scallop dish.
Look at that.
And then this is our in-house made potato bread.
That is beautiful. I got to tell you, scallop is one of my favorite dishes, so I cannot wait to dig in. May I, Chef?
Yes, absolutely. Enjoy. It's that fine dining technique, like I was saying, but presented in a familiar and casual manner.
All right, Eric, my friend, that was a delicious scallop dish. What's next on the menu?
Okay, so here is one of our main courses. This is our brined and braised pastrami lamb shoulder.
No, I'm not messing around. Very flavorful,
Good.
very flavorful.
Good. Don't be afraid to get some more bread in there as well. Eh?
Oh my gosh, that is a big piece. The Rosebud seasonally rotating menu brings thoughtful creativity to every dish. This is where comfort and quality take center stage on your date night. And if you plan on going a little bit later, you may ask Chef Eric for one of these. Thank you, Chef. Full details at cp24.com.
A new online survey released to mark World Vaccine Day suggests nearly a quarter of Canadians have declined to get a vaccine recommended by their doctor. The data from Proof Strategy shows most people decline the vaccines over concerns about potential side effects. Albertans were the most likely to refuse a recommended vaccine at 35%. People with a high school education or less were more likely to decline a vaccine than those with a university-level education. A Stratford man is nearly halfway through his epic run for cancer.
He's running a marathon a day as he travels to Tobermory. CTV's Scott Miller caught up with him on the road.
Sam Simon receives a hero's welcome in Ayton as the 57-year-old runs from his home in Stratford to Tobermory in honor of his wife, who is currently fighting cancer.
My wife has terminal cancer. It's her third bout of this, and she's my hero. What she goes through, this is nothing what I'm doing.
Simon left Stratford on Monday. He's ran about 113 kilometers over 3 days, not quite halfway to his 251-kilometer total that will land him and his crew in Tobermory, hopefully by Monday.
We're running up to Tobermory through the Bruce Peninsula. It's going to take us about a week, 8 days. We're doing about a marathon a day, give or take. And we're doing this to raise money for 3 wonderful organizations.
The Stratford General Hospital, Wellspring Stratford Cancer Centre, and London Health Sciences Centre Cancer Centre will be the beneficiaries of Sam's epic run for cancer, a run that is already taking a toll on his body.
The body is, you know, I'm not going to lie to you, it's feeling it at night. So at night, when we stop, they ice up the knees, and it's my knees, and I have a blister on the one foot, but I've got a lot of guidance on how to do that. So other than the one blister on the right foot, which we're working on, and the knee's a little sore, we're doing wonderful.
Simon says the 6 months of training leading up to his epic run has certainly helped, as has his wonderful road crew, keeping him healthy and on the right track. He knows why he's doing this, which keeps him putting one foot in front of the other.
We just keep moving, keep 1 foot at a time forward.
Simon has already raised over $24,000 to date for the 3 health organizations that have helped most with his wife's care. You can follow, learn more, and donate to Sam Simon's epic run for cancer by visiting our website. Near Ayton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Still to come, FIFA's first ever halftime show. We'll have more on who will be performing when we come back.
With less than a month to go until the start of the FIFA World Cup, organizers have announced the performers for the first ever halftime show during the final match, and they've enlisted some high-profile help for the reveal.
BTS. Wait, who's on the phone, Elmo?
BTS. Elmo has him on speed dial.
Hey, Elmo. Hey, Chris. Hey, Cookie. V, RM, Sugar, J-Hope, Jimin, Jungkook, and Jin. Elmo and I were wondering if you guys might want to join us on July 19th. We'll be there, Chris, for sure. Thank you so much. Okay.
That was K-pop superstars BTS confirming their plans to perform at halftime as part of a skit with Coldplay's Chris Martin and characters from the Muppets and Sesame Street. Also slated to take the stage at New York, New Jersey Stadium that day are Madonna and Shakira. And Shakira's song is the official song of the 2026 World Cup, with the full track debuting later today.
Songs and albums by Beyonce, Chaka Khan, and Taylor Swift will soon be preserved for future generations.
'Cause if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it.
They're among 25 inductees into the National Recording Registry at the Library of Congress. Songs by the Go-Go's, Vince Gill, Ray Charles, Reba McEntire, and Weezer will also be added. The Library of Congress says more than 3,000 public nominations were submitted for consideration this year. The selections are chosen for their cultural, historical, or aesthetic significance to the United States.
You're watching CTV News at noon, your lovely long weekend forecast. After the break, stay with us.
Welcome back. You can see it's cloudy by the CN Tower, but Lindsay, not for long.
It won't be for long. We've got lots of sunshine in the forecast for this weekend. The cloud might stick around for the rest of today. Some areas might get a little bit of clearing before the day is finished. Here's one more look at the satellite, and it's the satellite image that I want you to focus on. We're not seeing too much rain on the radar. That's good news. Holding on to a slight chance of showers for today, but then tomorrow, mainly sunny, 20 degrees. What a change compared to the last many weeks. And then your long weekend forecast is looking like this. All eyes on Monday with a high of 25 degrees. And if that's not warm enough for you, how about 29 for a high on Tuesday with a chance of showers returning? Sean and Michelle.
Thanks, Lindsay. And that's CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Sean Leathong. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a good afternoon.